I am here with Ariel Monroe. You can see her at Ladies Night Out 4. That's November 17th in Texas City. You can stream it live exclusively on TitleMatchNetwork.com. Front row is sold out, but tickets are still available at realityofwrestling.com. And this show brought to you by Title Match Network. It's their 4th ever all-women's pay-per-view. Ariel Monroe is here, and you're taking on Kiera Hogan on the show. This isn't your first time facing her.
No, it's not. Last time was at Shine Wrestling in New York, where I was victorious over her. It was crazy because I was like super sick too.
You all seem to lock horns quite a bit, or at least be in the same ring quite a bit.
Yeah, it's something about having a match with Kiera, or her at least being around. Like, we just vibe off of each other. It's very seamless.
So you've got this Ladies Night Out show. Obviously, WWE just did Evolution, but this isn't anything new to Title Match Wrestling. They've been doing these all-women shows for quite a while. Oh, and yeah. You're on all kinds of all-women shows as well, obviously. What kind of different vibe is there on a show like that, whether it be backstage or in the crowd, that differs from standard shows?
Honestly, it's kind of like being at an all-women show. You just have to bring more, because you just have to try to outshine the next person, and everybody. It's like a friendly competition. Like, oh no, my match is gonna be better. My match is gonna be better. It's like you just have that camaraderie, and they just want and make you better. When you're at all women shows, you're just like, oh, I see what you're doing. Oh no, I'm gonna change some things. No.
And they've had cage matches on these shows, things like that. We're starting to see these integrated more into women's wrestling. Is there anything that you look at, like Ivelisse and Kiera had a cage match at one of the last shows? Is there anything that you look at like that and you're like, man, I want to be in a match like that soon?
Honestly, I want to be in a ladder match soon. I haven't had one yet. So that's one stipulation match where I'm just like, I would love to see a very nice, well put together ladder match, and that includes some women, maybe intergender or anything like that. So that would be very cool if I could be a part of that.
Speaking of intergender, your husband Cedric delivered one of the most famous lumbar checks ever to a woman who you tagged with in WWE. Yeah. Explain to me the process of that, because I remember when I saw that. First off, I showed that video to 1 million people. I couldn't believe it. And here you are a few years later, and you're teaming with her.
Yeah. I remember when he came home, and he was just like, babe, I did something. And I was like, oh, Lord, what'd you do this time? And he showed me the clip, and he's like, I think it's going to go viral. I was like, oh, man. And then we woke up the next day, and it was at 2 million views, and we're like, oh, well, here we go. It was very interesting to see, because I was like, man, it looks like that thing hurts. And then lo and behold, a couple months later, he did it on me, and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. But he just looked like he killed Candace. It just looked like she was just dead. I was like, oh, you poor thing.
She took that very, very well. You had wrestled the day before that in the Mae Young Classic. Explain to me how that all came about, how you were contacted and kind of informed about that.
Actually, Cedric told me, because Kenyon Seaman sent him an email, and he was like, hey, we're trying to find your wife. We can't get a hold of her at all for the Mae Young Classic. And he quickly called me. He's like, Ariel, what's wrong with your messages? I was like, there's nothing wrong with my email. I was like, most people spell my name wrong, so maybe, it doesn't come to me. And he was like, well, WWE's trying to contact you for the Mae Young Classic. And I was like, oh, are you serious? So I sent him an email, and I was like, oh, hey, look, I'm very interested in doing this. And he was like, okay. He quickly gave me all the paperwork, and I was like, oh, this is happening so quick.
And you obviously were on the Mae Young Classic, but you also appeared for MLW earlier this year. They're making a lot of moves. Can you explain to me that experience? You wrestled Santana Garrett on that show.
Yes, I did. It was actually quite nice, because you had low key on the actual card, and MVP was there. So just being able to get that feedback from them, since they've been in this game for a very long time, and they know exactly what they're doing. So it was great to be in the same company as those great wrestlers.
Yeah, and I haven't seen you appear for a Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling. Have there been any conversations with either of those companies? Because obviously they're trying to grow those women's divisions?
I haven't heard anything from Ring of Honor, but I did hear that Impact apparently has like I guess a little list, and I heard that I'm on it, but it's always like hearsay. Yeah. But I do know that when I did Rise, I believe it was like Rise 7 or something like that, 7 or 8 in Chicago. Is when Medusa and Gail Kim were and Mercedes Martinez was doing the seminar. I had like a little mini match that I pretty much had to go in and just call it on the fly. And then afterwards, Gail Kim was like, "Girl, you've got it. Your charisma is like nothing I've ever seen before." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." My inner fan was just like, "Don't mark out. Just take the compliment and keep it pushing."
And she's a very outspoken person, not afraid to say what she thinks, and not afraid to shoot straight with somebody either. So gaining a compliment from someone like that, who, quite frankly, if you were the shit, she would tell you that you were.
Right. Right.
So I'd also heard that Ivelisse was supposed to debut there, but it got changed at the last minute. Diamante has been in and out of there. They just signed Jordan Grace. Mm-hmm. Lots of moves being made in several different women's divisions. You've worked MLW, you've worked Mae Young Classic. What is the place where you've worked so far and you're like, man, this has been just such a perfect fit, whether it be Shine, whether it be Reality of Wrestling, QOC, anywhere like that?
I would say Fest Wrestling in Gainesville, Florida. They have been like, they've welcomed me, and it was like home, essentially. And they didn't treat me as if, oh, you're just like a women's wrestler. They just was like, hey, no, you're a wrestler. And they took a gamble on me, when I was nothing. I was just figuring out who Big Swole was. And they were like, yeah, sure, come on board. Let's see what you can do. And they've been open ever since then. And I love that place. Like, I'll work for them for the rest of my career if I'm on the indies, Shout out to Tony. I love them.
So when exactly did you start training? When did you have your first match?
I started training in 2013. Well, I started in 2013, but then I got pregnant, and so I had to continue in 2014. And I had my first match in November 2014. And it was for a, what was that promotion? It was Steve Carino's promotion in Hubert, North Carolina. Yeah. So I had my first match with them. So it was very interesting.
Another interesting thing about working the independent circuit, like depending on the night, you might work with somebody who's wrestled for 2 months, or you might wrestle with someone like Malia Hosaka, who's been around for decades and decades, who I know that you've worked with as well. What are some of maybe the challenges and benefits of that?
Honestly, I believe it keeps you on your toes, because you just never know exactly who's going to, who your opponent's going to be or what they're going to know. So it just helps me have a greater understanding of wrestling and how others perceive it, and just, you just never stop learning. So, I mean, I can learn something from somebody who's been in for 2 months, because maybe they're bringing something to the table that I haven't thought about, And the same goes, of course, for all the veterans out there.
Now, this Ladies Night Out show is a stat card. Ivelisse and Thunder Rosa, yourself against Kiera Hogan, Su Yung is in action, Taya Valkyrie, and Barbi Hayden. Oh, yeah. Like a lot of names. What match outside of your own are you looking at, and you're like, I'm going to be watching that one through the curtain?
I can't wait to see Taya Valkyrie. I believe we've never seen her wrestle live. It's always been on some other platform, YouTube or something, where I'm looking at her matches. But so I'm very interested to see that match. So I'm pretty excited. She's a bad chick.
Oh yeah. I've loved the series of matches she's had with Tessa Blanchard of late. I think it's a really good. It's a little bit of a contrast, but they work very similar as well. So I think they play off each other well. Ariel, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Can you let the people know where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Ariel Monroe. That's AERIAL. And then on Instagram at Ariel_Monroe. And on Facebook, Ariel Monroe. Of
course, we encourage everybody to check out Ladies Night Out on Title Match Wrestling All the info will be in the description below and in the articles. But Ariel, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and I got to make sure I say everybody go watch the Swerve City podcast. It's pretty dope.
Okay. Shane Strickland.
Yes. Shout out to Shane Strickland and Montesi, the best co-host I can ever ask for.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one.